It's the 19th of August. This is Rabbi Levitt. And what are we doing now? We're doing Gemara?
Choresh.
Horeb. Oh, I'm not so as late as I thought. Okay, great.
Page 238.
238.
On the bottom.
We have a Siman Muvhak that we're doing Horeb. We have a Kohen. We don't usually have a Kohen when we do Bava Metzia.
Right.
We didn't have a Kohen today when we were doing Chakris, unfortunately. But
we usually have a Servetsky.
Another thing. What?
We usually have a Servetsky instead of a Kohen.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if Phil is a Kohen. I never heard that he was a Kohen. Okay.
Joe?
Yeah, I was thinking, the next minion, I'm sure they have a Kohen or two. So I was thinking of contacting one of the Kohanim that already davened in the next minion. We have a 6:30 minion. But then I thought, it's not. He may not be interested to do that. He might have other obligations, so it's a terrible for him to come. So that's hashgacha. Sometimes you have a Kohen, and sometimes you don't. Okay. Okay.
Before we continue, Roy's wife is back in the hospital.
Oh, yeah?
This house, those are no shoes. And we didn't find, so we had to get him another pair of no shoes.
Oh.
But we had to take him out today, so he wants to. So he needs the shoes. He went.
Okay. You found out where's the noise coming from?
Yeah, they must have.
So Roy's wife is back in the hospital. Nothing to do with her heart. We don't know. I'm not sure what it is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ow.
You want your coffee over here? Okay.
Okay, well, we'll continue to daven for Hannah Bas Shadel. Mizrat Hashem. You should hear the Surah
What is going on with Hannah?
We don't know. All we know is she went back to the hospital without no problem with her heart, though.
Ah, I
Nothing
see.
to do with the heart.
Okay. Shalema.
Okay, we are on page 238. And we got up to, Alan read up to the middle paragraph that begins, if the conditions of custody.
Right.
Okay, so we call upon Mayor to continue.
Okay. If the conditions of custody and responsibility have been stipulated express taking charge of the article, those conditions govern. Any custodian who does not know where he has left the article with, where he has left the article with, which he is entrusted, has committed conversion and is responsible for its immediate replacement according to the law of the Torah. The same applies when thieves have stolen it without having called for help. Likewise, when he has not stored it in the same way he would do with his own goods of the same nature, at the same time and in the same place. He who entrusts you tacitly with an article extends his trust also to your wife and other adult members of your household, unless stated otherwise at the time of delivery. What you have taken in trust should be sacred and inviolable. Even the slightest attempt to use it is a breach of trust. The slightest decree a degree of wear and tear is theft, whether it has been committed by yourself or one of your agents. You must not mix with your own produce that which has been deposited with you. Do not touch it if it does not suffer more than ordinary wastage. If the wastage is more than normal and the owner is in the vicinity, notify him accordingly. If he is not, have it sold by public auction. The same applies when it has become rotten or otherwise damaged, but do not touch it before that has happened. He who puts such goods up for public auction must not buy them himself, because this would appear suspicious. If the owner of goods in your custody is absent and out of your reach for an unforeseeable time, you must do whatever is necessary for the preservation of the object. For instance, air clothing. A paid custodian has not discharged his duty by calling out for help in the case of robbery, but he must actively try everything possible to procure the assistance of other people, even if he has to pay for it up to the value of the goods in his charge, and he is entitled to leave them to their fate only if this is sanctioned by law, custom, or express stipulation. Artisans are considered paid custodians with regard to the material supplied to them of an article is in the same position. He who has received an article as a pledge, or who has found an article, has to exercise the same care as a paid custodian, although his responsibility is only that of an unpaid custodian. Special care is required in the case of acceptance of goods for custody from married women, domestic servants, and minors, and the bailee must be satisfied that they are the owners.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, so that's the one noteworthy item, that someone who's taken responsibility to take in a certain item, object, article, whatever you want to call it. He's not allowed to have any use of the article at all. He's not allowed to use it for his own purpose. And the only reason that he would be allowed to touch it really would be if he needs to move it from the place that it's in, because the place that it's in is in the sun and it could get damaged like that, for example. Otherwise, he's not supposed to. He should have it in a place that is safe from all sorts of possible damage, and yeah. Okay. All the other things are the details. Okay. Okay, fine. Now we go up to 356. That was the person that has custody over the item. And now we go to the agent. What's this referring to? Let's see. Lou, you'd like to read, please. Oh, Lou, you got your red mic. Sorry.
Sorry about that. Agent. Being an agent means putting at another person's disposal one's word and action for the performance of a certain task, giving, so to speak, one's body to the personality of another person for a certain purpose. The agent therefore represents the principle. What you say or do on behalf of the other is attributed to the latter's personality, not, of course, such executions of duty as amount to a religious dedication of the person's character. Yet, you are personally responsible for the legality or illegality of the act. You may become an agent for any purpose except one that is prohibited to you. For how should you be allowed to do a man's bidding what God has forbidden? It is therefore no excuse for a wicked act to say that it was done by another's orders. But he who makes use of a minor, or a person who is not accountable for his actions, or is unaware of the implication of the action, for an illegal act, is wholly responsible for the act to the exclusion of the agent. The assumption of a mandate, being an act of direct self-dedication, is completed by word alone. Once you have accepted a mandate, you must carry it out strictly according to the principal's wishes. As soon as you deviate from them, your authority becomes null and void. If you do in your own interest what you have undertaken to do on another's behalf, you are guilty of fraud. If you buy on another's behalf and you receive more than the normal amount of goods, and if the purchased goods have no generally established market price, it is for the benefit of your principal. But if they have a generally accepted market price, you are entitled to an equal share of the surplus.
Okay, very important rule that so that's the agent. The agent, we would say in the Lashon of the Gemara, he's the shliach. So that's the rule that the principle is the mishaleach. He's the one that sends the shliach on his shlichus, on his agency, what he's supposed to do. So, so he says over here, you may become an agent for any purpose except one that is prohibited to you, meaning something that's a Torah prohibition, or also even a rabbinic prohibition. That's not something that you could become an agent for. And the way Rav Hirsch eloquently expresses what Chazal say, "Ein shliach l'dvar aveira." There's no such a thing as shlichus for the commission of an aveira. He says, "For how should you be allowed to do by a man's bidding what God has forbidden?" Quite compelling logic. Okay, so therefore it's no excuse for a wicked act to say that it was done by another's orders. So-and-so ordered me to do it. There's no such a thing. That's not an excuse, according to Torah. In other words, who's responsible? The one that carries out the act is totally responsible. The one that told him to do the forbidden act has no, he's not, well, that's an interesting question. He's certainly not allowed to tell the person to do that. But technically speaking, he's not responsible for the Avera. Okay. Okay, and with that, we conclude section 47, justice in transfer of property and in services. So that calls for a round of applause. Yay! And now we move on to 48, measuring and counting, Mida Umispar. And we have two sections of the Torah that Rav Hirsch wants us to know about. So we go to Alan. To start off the reading, please. Alan?
Yeah, okay, measuring and counting.
Right.
Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, in meteor or weight or in measure. Just balances, just weights, a just ephah, and a just hin shall ye have. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall ye observe all my statutes and all my ordinances, and do them. I am the Lord, from Leviticus. Thou shalt not have in thy bag diverse weights, great and so great and small. Thou shalt not have in thy house diverse measures, a great and small, but thou shalt have a perfect and just weight, a perfect and just measure shall thy have, that thy days may be lengthened in the land which the Lord thy God has given thee, from all that do such things, and all that unrighteously are an abomination unto the Lord thy God. So we have to be righteous and follow rules and I guess be good, right?
Right. Okay. 357, we go to Mayor to start off the reading.
Okay, services which you must give to your neighbor can only be examined and appraised on whether they correspond fairly and reasonably with the task whose performance you have undertaken. But what material things you must give him can be determined more accurately by measuring, weighing, and counting, and thus be perfectly right by human judgment. When you measure, weigh, or count any goods being delivered to your neighbor, that is to say, when you have to state their size, weight, or quantity as known to you, you must not be dishonest in such statements. Just as a judge with regard to human beings, so you, with regard to commodities for human beings, have been entrusted to pronounce judgment. You are trusted to ascertain and determine for others. Yours, too, is a verdict, the most general, the most far-reaching, occurring within any sphere.
Okay. Okay, fine. 358. We go to Lou to continue. Oh, do we have any time?
I think our time is up.
Time is up. Okay, so
Right, it is.
you got to measure and count the right time. So it's time to conclude. So we say goodbye and a good day and a great day to Mayor.
Okay, very good. Be well, everybody.
Okay, Mayor,
Amen.
have a good one.
Okay,
So
thank
the
you.
votes. Yeshuot ben votes.
Amen. Take care.
Refuot v'yeshuot. We'll be back soon, Bezrat Hashem.